The village of Duskhollow, nestled between ancient woods and a brooding mountain range. A shroud of mist perpetually clung to the village, swallowing light and sound. The villagers were a stoic lot, their faces etched with generations of whispered secrets. They knew the dangers that lurked beyond their hearths, and they clung to their traditions like shields against the encroaching darkness. The woods were a place of whispers and shadows, trees twisted into gnarled claws, reaching out towards the village as if trying to snatch the unwary. The mountains loomed over everything, their peaks lost in swirling mist. They were silent guardians, watching, waiting. Life in Duskhollow was simple, governed by the rhythms of nature and shrouded in an ancient dread. The villagers kept to themselves, rarely venturing beyond the safety of their borders, for they knew that the mist held dangers beyond comprehension, dangers that whispered your name, dangers that beckoned you closer. One rule governed life in Duskhollow above all others, a rule passed down through generations. A rule whispered from parent to child: never follow the lantern in the mist. It was a simple rule, yet it held the weight of ages, the weight of experience, the weight of survival. The lantern was a malevolent entity, a beacon of false hope. It would appear in the mist, a solitary point of light in the swirling grey, promising warmth, promising guidance. But the villagers knew better. They knew that the lantern led only to ruin, to madness, to the abyss. Stories were told around crackling fires, stories of those foolish enough to have followed the lantern's lure. They spoke of figures in the mist, whispering promises, beckoning with skeletal fingers. They spoke of a silence that pressed down on you, a silence that suffocated the soul. The lantern was a test, a temptation. It preyed on the weak, the curious, the hopeful, and Duskhollow had learned to resist its call, to turn their backs on its false promise. For in Duskhollow, survival meant resisting the allure of the unknown. Elric was different, a young man on the cusp of adulthood. He had grown up hearing the stories. He had seen the fear in the eyes of his elders, but doubt gnawed at him. A spark of defiance flickered within his heart. He yearned to see the world beyond the mist, to break free from the chains of tradition. The stories seemed like fantasies to him, tales told to frighten children. He couldn't believe that a simple lantern could hold such power. He longed for proof, for something more than whispered warnings and fearful glances. He craved knowledge, even if it came at a price. One night, as the mist rolled in thicker than usual, Elric felt a pull, an irresistible urge to see the truth for himself. He watched as the lantern flickered into existence, a pinprick of light in the swirling grey. He knew what he had to do. He would follow the lantern. He would see where it led, and he would prove that the stories were nothing more than superstition. Elric slipped away from the village under the cover of darkness. His heart pounded in his chest. A mixture of fear and excitement coursed through his veins. He walked towards the edge of the village, where the mist hung heavy and the lantern beckoned. He took a deep breath and stepped into the unknown. The mist closed around him like a shroud, swallowing the world he knew. The familiar sounds of the village faded behind him, replaced by an unnerving silence. The only sound was the beating of his own heart and the soft whisper of the mist against his skin. He walked for what felt like hours, the lantern his only guide. It bobbed gently in the mist, always just out of reach, luring him deeper and deeper into the unknown. The air grew colder, and the silence pressed down on him, smothering, suffocating. He started to see shapes in the mist, flickering figures that vanished as quickly as they appeared. He heard whispers carried on the wind, whispers of his name, whispers of promises,